Join us as we follow Connie and her best friend Jojo on a wild journey from suburban boredom to multi-million-dollar coupon scam. Stick around until the end to find out who betrayed our main character, and comment down below if you expected it. Welcome to your daily movie pill. Today, we're diving into a 2021 movie called Queen Pins, an outrageous comedy inspired by a true story. Spoilers ahead, and buckle up for an amazing story. In the suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona, Connie, your typical suburban housewife, gets nabbed one night right in her own home. No fuss from her as she's taken in, but her mind races back to how this mess all started months back. See, Connie used to be a big deal, a 3-time gold medalist in Olympic race walking, but that didn't exactly pay the bills or make her famous. Nowadays, she's living with her husband Rick, an IRS guy, and let's just say their relationship isn't exactly smooth sailing. Weird, how did she not become famous with 3 gold Olympic medals? Since they couldn't have kids, they splurged on treatments. But when Connie finally got pregnant, she lost the baby. That's when Rick decided to take a job that kept him away 3 weeks a month. When he's not around, things aren't great. He keeps reminding Connie she's not working and blames her for blowing money on treatments he wanted to quit after the first try. Plus, he nags her about coupon obsession. Connie's coupon craze is for real. She hoards them and buys stuff in bulk, turning the nursery into a coupon-covered sanctuary to distract from her loss. With Rick away a lot, Connie connects with her neighbor Jojo, who's also crazy about coupons and runs a YouTube channel on saving tips. Jojo lives with her mom Josie and is having a tough time finding work since her identity got swiped recently. What a great pair Connie and Jojo are! Fantastic! When she's not busy, she's cozying up with Earl, the mailman, and attempting to peddle makeup door to door, with little luck. At the supermarket, she inundates cashier Greg with a stack of coupons, causing a bit of a line jam but slashing her bill from over $100 to a mere 16. Connie always says that her pinching pennies adds up to saving dollars in the end. One afternoon while she's unpacking groceries, Connie spots the baby wallpaper stashed among the boxes and it hits her hard. Seeking comfort, she digs into a pile of cereal, hoping it'll chase away her blues. But to her disappointment, the cereal's stale. Fuming, Connie fires off a fire email to the cereal company. A few days later, she's pleasantly surprised to find a coupon for free cereal in the mail, along with a note from the company saying sorry for the stale stuff. Who knew being a Karen could get you free cereal coupons? When Connie goes to the market to swap it out, Greg tells her straight up that she's not special. Companies send free coupons to anyone who complains. Hearing this, Connie gets an idea. She starts firing off letters to different companies, even if their products are fine. And soon enough, she's swimming in a pile of freebie coupons. Connie shares her haul with Jojo, who's blown away by the smart move. Jojo even tries to buy a coupon from Connie since it's still cheaper than the regular price. This light bulb moment hits Connie. She could turn this into a booming business, selling stuff she got for free for pure profit. After some online digging, they found out the coupons are made nearby in Mexico. They toy with the idea of grabbing a bunch to sell. Though Jojo's doubtful at first, drowning in debt, she eventually jumps on board to help out. Down in Nevada, Ken, a loss prevention officer, is keeping watch at a local market. When a cashier struggles with a coupon, Ken investigates and figures out it's fake in no time. The manager wants to honor it for the old lady's sake, but Ken sticks to the rules. His blunt attitude earns him a few choice insults from the old timer. Come on, you don't have to be so stiff. It's just an old lady. Later, when Ken hops on a plane to head home, he encounters another situation. A mom asks him to switch seats with her daughter so the kid can watch the landing and calm down. But Ken acts like a jerk, refusing and insisting it's a lesson the kid needs to learn. Back at his lonely Utah apartment, Ken vents his frustrations by yelling at the TV. Meanwhile, the next day in Mexico, Connie and Jojo arrive at the coupon factory just as the employees are wrapping up their shifts. They decide to approach Alejandro and Rosa, a couple who seems to be bending the rules but don't seem too sketchy. Following them in the car, Connie and Jojo worry they're about to get mugged, but once they explain they're seeking help, Alejandro and Rosa welcome them into their home for a chat. It turns out Rosa is pregnant and money is tight for them. So, Connie and Jojo make them an offer. If Alejandro and Rosa can snag some coupons for them, they'll sell them in the USA and share the profits. Alejandro isn't sure about it, but Rosa convinces him to give it a shot for the sake of their baby. You gotta do what you gotta do when the money is tight, especially when you have a baby. Coming up with a plan is pretty straightforward. The factory has 2 parts, printing, where Alejandro works, and redemption, where Rosa works. Usually, folks on one side don't know what's happening on the other. Whenever coupons get printed, There are always extras supposed to be trashed, but Alejandro can sneak those extras to Connie and Jojo when their trucks are out delivering around the USA. Border crossing won't be a problem since all they'll see is a box of coupons. Nothing shady. A few days later, the duo gets their hands on the first batch of coupons. They quickly set up a simple website to sell them and give it a shout out on Connie's channel. Their business skyrockets, bringing in loads of cash. But soon enough, the supermarkets catch on. Ken's flooded with letters and calls from managers moaning about their shrinking profits. So he dives deep into an investigation, hunting for a credit card number tied to one of the coupon purchases. After 11 days of digging, Ken pays a visit to the housewife who used the coupon, only to find out she learned about the website from a black woman on YouTube. When Ken gets back to the office and checks out the website, he sees the motto, "Watch the pennies and the dollars will follow." Meanwhile, Connie and Jojo are bummed to find their PayPal account got frozen because it's been flooded with too much cash too quickly. To get it unfrozen, they have to prove they're running a legit business. Clueless about what to do, they decide to reach out to Tina, a famous hacker on the dark web. Tina gives them a good scolding for promoting their business so openly, emphasizing that it could easily be traced back to them. After deleting Jojo's videos, she suggests they establish a front for their business to clean their money. This involves getting fake IDs, setting up bank accounts, and finding a secret spot to operate from. She also advises them to wait 6 months before splurging their cash to let any connections to their real names fade away. You can always trust a hacker from the dark web. What could possibly go wrong? After striking a deal with Tina to take 10% for the help, she hands them a special encrypted USB stick to stash their important files. Tina's quick moves leave no digital trail for Ken to follow. Ken turns to the FBI for backup, but they brush off the coupon issue as a joke. So they toss the case to Albert, the lowest guy on the totem pole, who's got nothing better to do, and he reluctantly takes it. With Jojo's Cosmetics brand as a front and using Tina's fake IDs, the coupon scam kicks into high gear, bringing in loads of cash. Meanwhile, Ken keeps pestering the FBI with messages every day. Fast forward 6 months, and Connie and Jojo are itching to spend their money. But they remember Tina's warning that it's dirty cash and needs to be laundered first. Recalling a tale from Rick about one of his clients, Connie suggests they spend on expensive stuff to resell later. That way, the money from those sales would look legit. Wow, that sounds like an amazing money laundering technique. After sweet-talking banks into giving them loads of cash for hiring staff for their cosmetics gig, Connie and Jojo go all out on a mega shopping spree. They snag sports cars, boats, a private plane, and even some Rick guns. Then they hit up Las Vegas to chat about their next moves. Jojo plans to pay off her mom's mortgage, while Connie wants to give fertility treatment another shot. Meanwhile, Ken finally gets the call he's been waiting for from the FBI. Albert breaks the news that he's hitting a wall online because some whiz has wiped out all digital tracks. But since the coupons are being sent via old-fashioned mail, he promises to send someone who can actually help. 2 days later, Ken meets Simon, a postal inspector. Simon hops on the case and suggests Ken order some coupons from the website so they can dive into the system. Uh-oh, the trouble is really about to begin. When the envelope shows up a couple days later, Simon quickly catches that it's labeled from Kansas, but actually hails from Arizona, thanks to some special numbers on the online stamp. Since he's heading to Phoenix soon, he agrees to bring Ken along, who already knows the lay of the land with all the supermarkets there. Meanwhile, Connie sets up an appointment at the fertility clinic and brings Jojo for moral support, since she hasn't filled Rick in on the plan. The doctor drops the bomb that this is her last shot, so Connie decides to go with a donor seed instead of her husband's. Later that evening, Tina reaches out again to find out where all the money went, and she's not pleased with their explanation. They've missed the point entirely. By using Jojo's cosmetic brand, they've already cleaned the money. Now they need to sell off everything they bought pronto and stash the cash back in the bank bit by bit each day. When Rick returns from his latest business trip, he spots the new TV Connie bought. She quickly covers by saying she's landed a sales job and no longer needs to coupon. Come on, Connie, at least tell the truth to your husband. Rick is overjoyed and jokingly calls Connie a new wife, which solidifies Connie's decision to proceed with the treatment using a donor seed. Meanwhile, Ken and Simon are busy questioning cashiers in the area, hoping to find someone with a coupon obsession. They hit the jackpot with Greg, who might not know Connie's name, but gives them a detailed description, along with mentioning her 2-penny motto, a detail Ken remembers seeing on the website. The next day, they swing by the local post office to ask around about a blonde who's into coupons. No one seems to remember Connie, but once they mention coupons, they spill the beans on Earl. Apparently, he's always glued to JoJo's saving tips on YouTube. Meanwhile, Connie and JoJo are struggling to offload all their stuff on eBay because they've got such a huge pile of items. During a cafe visit, they bump into two dudes from a gun club. They score the club's address and later swing by with all their weapons for sale. JoJo pulls off a killer sales pitch, but the leader initially says no. So they sweeten the deal with a hefty discount if they buy everything. And boom, they seal it. Meanwhile, Ken and Simon try to pry info from Earl in private, but he's tight-lipped and won't spill a thing. Amazing! Connie can be a really good salesman. Once he's out, he swings by JoJo's house and sneaks a note into an envelope mixed in with the regular mail, which Josie grabs without realizing its importance. Little does Earl know, Ken and Simon have trailed him there, and now they're keeping an eye on the house for as long as it takes. As night sets in, JoJo pulls up at home, and the men clock that she's the same black woman from the YouTube video mentioned by the housewife. JoJo hops out of her car and starts busting moves in her driveway, celebrating the awesome deal she scored earlier. The next morning, JoJo gets into it with Josie, completely forgetting about the mail. Oblivious to being followed, she heads to the stash house like normal. Ken and Simon tag along and spot Connie too, confirming she's the blonde described by Greg. Simon gathers up some more postal inspectors to get the operation rolling smoothly. With extra details on hand, it's a piece of cake for them to track down Connie and JoJo's whereabouts, especially once Greg confirms it after seeing a picture. Later that night, JoJo can't catch a sleep, so she checks in on her mom before sneaking into the kitchen for a snack. JoJo had a really good gut feeling because stuff is about to go down. That's when she finally finds Earl's note telling her to skip town. But it's too late. Simon and his squad swoop in and raid Connie, JoJo, and Josie. Their homes in Stash House get raided, and the news flashes their arrests, leaving Earl surprised to see JoJo's face on TV. When the questioning starts, Rick and Josie are quick to wash their hands of the whole thing, insisting they had nothing to do with it and offering to help the authorities. JoJo tries to act all innocent, pretending she's clueless about what's going on, but they dig up her incriminating videos on her computer. Meanwhile, Connie fesses up to her part in the scheme, but she's floored when they mention the possibility of spending 40 years to life behind bars for fraud. To take some heat off of JoJo, they strike a deal with Connie. If she takes the fall for starting it all, they'll go easy on JoJo. Connie agrees. JoJo gets sprung on bail, thinking it's Josie who coughed up the cash, but it turns out it was Earl, waiting for her outside with a bunch of flowers. Sadly, Connie isn't catching any breaks. Rick just swings by to give her an earful and won't lift a finger to bail her out. So Connie decides to call it quits and asks for a divorce. Meanwhile, the investigation keeps chugging along, and the inspectors trace the coupons back to Alejandro and Rosa. By the time they figure it out, the couple has vanished into thin air. With no leads to follow, the Mexican government decides to let it slide. That's really bad timing for a divorce, especially if you're in prison. Connie hires out a top-notch lawyer, and it totally pays off. During the trial, the lawyer convinces everyone that Connie and JoJo were just using a loophole, much like big corporations do all the time. His plan works like magic, landing JoJo with a 10-day jail sentence and a year of probation, while Connie gets 11 months in the slammer with a shot at parole. Simon and Ken aren't too pleased to find how things turned out, so they press the state attorney for some answers. The attorney spills the beans that the judge went easy on the ladies because the big brands behind the coupons didn't want any press. To those giant corporations, the $80 million lost in the scam is just pocket change. With the case wrapped up, Simon has to jet, but before he leaves, he gives Ken a pat on the back, saying he's a good dude to work with, but maybe just ease up on the attitude a little bit. As time goes on, things start shifting for everyone. Ken starts softening up a bit, giving breaks to his old clients with fake coupons, and even braving up to create a profile on a dating app. Connie finally gets her divorce, and to top it all off, the fertility treatment works out. She spends her time in prison sporting a big baby bump, pregnant with success. The authorities grab most of the scam's cash, but they totally miss the boxes in the nursery, thinking it's just regular stuff. JoJo swoops in and takes those boxes, knowing Connie's been hiding cash in them all along. With Earl by her side, they jet off to Montenegro, a spot where extradition isn't an issue, to launch a new scam under a different cosmetics brand. They're keeping the door open for Connie to join them once she's out, so they can team up again. Hey there, thanks for sticking around to the end of this roller coaster ride. We've covered everything from suburban dramas to international scams, and it's been quite the journey. I rate this movie a 7.5 out of 10. Comment down below what you would rate it. Looks like this movie pill is starting to wear off. But don't worry, there's always more where that came from. Tap here to keep the effects going with this next movie, because who can stop at just one? And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe, because your next movie dose is just a click away.